Now, the reality is that, when it comes to becoming a solutions architect and to do that job effectively, the essay is more than a technical resource. All right, we do actually more than that. It's great to know about, if I take AWS, the 200 plus services. It's great if you can memorize all of them, although it's really difficult, I have to say. And I don't think there's many people who memorize all of them because they keep changing, they keep evolving, new features, etc. But you can also learn about the 90 plus services at GCP if you're a Google person, and the 200 plus Azure services if you want to. Now, the thing is, at some point, if you just know the technical aspects, that's not going to be enough. Now, in the name, in the word solutions architect, there is the word solution. Okay, and that's really important because your job is to help the customer with solutions. Okay, and what these solutions are about, they help the customers to achieve business outcomes. All right. Anyone can tell me what are business outcomes or examples of business outcomes, just to be sure that that resonates with everybody. What's a business outcome, for example? Okay, the value, okay. Okay, so that, anything else? Increase sales, that is a business incomes. Increase sales, increase the revenue, lower cost, reduce the cost of operation or whatever. Yeah, profit more customers. Okay, save time, exactly, yeah. Reputation, yeah, perfect. So these are really, really good examples. Now, whatever you are doing with the customer, if they go and pay for your solution, it's not because they're excited about the solution in itself. It's because IT is an enabler for them to achieve their business outcomes. And whenever you are in the room with the customer, it's your job to understand, first of all, what are the business outcomes they want to achieve, and then you want to work backwards. That's kind of an AWS process, but it applies everywhere. You can work backwards from these business outcomes to the ideal architecture for the customer to run their workloads. Okay, reduce price. I also like this one. Okay, so who knows these guys and who is playing? Don't be ashamed. Who is playing the Fortnite? I don't play it, to be honest. I barely know what this is about. I know everybody have to kill each other on some kind of island. Anyone playing Fortnite? Or do you have kids playing Fortnite, for example? If you don't, or if you don't want to admit, it's okay. So Fortnite is a company, sorry, not a company, sorry. It's a game, they belong to Epic Game. And, Fortnite, they are an AWS customer. It's public information. It's not something confidential that I am sharing here. There's a lot of information about them and what they do with AWS on the internet if you want to find out more about them. But, even though I'm not in the gaming industry, and I was not in the room with Fortnite with their solution architect when they started discussing, okay, what they're going to do, I bet their first question was definitely not, hey, can you please tell us about S3? Can you tell us about EC2? It sounds cool. No, their question was probably something like, hey, we need Fortnite to be accessible by millions of users in the world, anywhere in the world. It needs to be highly available, it needs to be highly secure, and we want all users to have the same consistent experience. All right? That's probably the kind of business outcomes that they were looking for. They didn't ask for S3, okay, or any other of the services. Now, what the solution architects, what they did, they sat down in the room, they did that, working backward process, and she kept the customer's goal in mind at every stage of the process. And that's super important because at some point, when you talk about the architecture, the availability, there's many ways to make a solution highly available, but some ways will cost more than others. And if you focus on the outcomes, you can help the customer to make trade-offs. Okay, so we're gonna make that solution a little bit less expensive. It's gonna be a bit less available at the same time. You cannot have everything. And some of you, maybe you already, have had this kind of conversation with your customers. If you're customer facing, you cannot have everything unless you put the price for. Okay, but keep the goals in mind. It's going to help you to navigate the conversation. All right. Now, just to tell you about Fortnite, now today, with those solutions that are running, they have 2 million plus players in the world. They have more than 8 million concurrent users. That has a price in terms of architecture for the customers, for the players to have a really, really good experience. Okay? Right. So let's talk about now your first customer meeting and how you are going to prepare for that customer meeting. Now, first of all, I'm really keen to get some feedback from the audience. Tell me what is good to prepare. When you're going to meet with your customer for the first time, let's do a little bit of brainstorming. What do you think is good to prepare in advance? I'm not getting much answers. Okay, research the company. Okay, learn about the customer. Okay, what do you do to learn about the customer? Okay, the organization and business. Okay, know their requirements. Imagine that you have never met with them, so you don't know yet their requirements. Okay, the company needs competition. Okay, know the audience. Oh yes. And I'm asking you because maybe in my list I don't have everything. So let's I can use also what you're saying to combine. Know the audience, do a little bit of LinkedIn research, look at their backgrounds, super important. Could be the case they have ever worked for your company before, you never know. Okay, agenda, oh yes, this is so important. You cannot go without the agenda. Okay, look at the previous business reports. Yes. Okay, and the industry they are in. Okay, so some of you have already mentioned some really, really good things. So preparation is key. You want to read their annual reports. It is insane the amount of information that you're going to get in there. Okay. Now these annual reports, some of them it's 50 pages. You don't have to read the 50 pages, but you really want to hear about what the company is about and their future plans, because they will put their plans in there for their customers to read, for their investors to read, for the company to read. Okay. But from that report, again, the key initiatives, and also from their websites, a lot of them will have a press release. So they could be posting every 2 days, every 2 weeks. You also want to read about the press release. There was one pro tip that I can share with you. This is what I do with my own customer. I put, how to say, I'm not sure how to explain, but basically on Gmail, I created a notification. Every time there is something new about my customer, I get an email and I get all of the links, I get all the headers where it says something about what my customer is doing. And then I just click on that and I look at, okay, they just launched this new product in Germany, for example, or in Sweden. Okay, that's good information for me to know. So when I'm in front of the customer, I show that I care about what they do. And I'm not just here to sell a solution. I'm here to be a trusted advisor. And I know about their business. You're going to build a lot of credibility if you do these kind of things. Okay, the Google Alerts, exactly. That's exactly what I do. Or you can also use the RSS feeds. Know their competition. Someone mentioned that. It's super important to know what their competitor are doing, because you can also learn, and what the competition is doing is going to give you more insight about the industry. Someone mentioned about the industry. Okay, does the customer mean individual person? The customer means the company. In this case, it could be you have one person in the room, you have 10 people in the room, they all represent the customer. Okay. Now, someone else mentioned agenda. It's super important to prepare an agenda with what are the things that you're going to discuss, what are the things you want them to discuss, okay? Because ultimately, when you go in the room, it's going to be the customer talking more than you, because it's your job to find out what is it that they want, how you can help them. So if they have to prepare some kind of slides, you got to put it in the agenda. And I say that because you would be surprised how much time it happens with ASA roles or account managers, that there's a meeting that is set up and it says business review, but that doesn't mean anything. Or talk about next steps or something not descriptive. First of all, if it's not descriptive enough, you won't have the right people in the room. So you want to really set clear expectations as per what is going to happen and what are you going to achieve by the end of this meeting. Okay? Yeah, we're going to talk about that, the listen more than talk. Super important. Right, let's look at a quick example here. We're going to go back to Epic Game. So if you go to Epic Game and if you type on Google Epic Game annual reports, I was looking at this just to give you an example. This is, I scrolled down and I found this. What's planned for Epic Game Store's player in 2022? Even if you're the solution architect, this is super important. Why? Because look at what I highlighted here. What's planned? Okay, eye catcher. Voice on platform. Okay, eye catcher. I'm not a gaming person, so I'm not sure how that translates into technical solutions and so on. But if I were a solution architect on Epic Game, these would be my buzzwords here. Okay. Okay. Right. So community features. Okay, they want to create a community feature. Okay. Game Hub to stay up to date on game updates. Expanding Epic Wallet to the rest of the world. Okay, they want to expand to other countries. That's really interesting. Continued improvements to launcher speed and performance. Okay, some performance, more performance needed here. Any keywords, anything that looks like it's tied to an outcome, you want to take a note of it. All right, and then during the discussion with the customer, you want to see how whatever they talk about, it maps with those outcomes. Okay, super important. And again, you're going to build a lot of credibility here. Okay, so who is going to that meeting? Solution architect is going, he or she. You will be working with an account manager, he or she again, and your account manager is your buddy. All right, and I'm talking about the core solutions architect, the sales engineer. If we talk about Google, I don't know how they call them at Azure. It could be a sales system engineer. Every company will have different words, okay? But if you are a solutions architect, for example, at AWS, a core solution architect, you will be aligned with an account manager. You are going in the room and you are going to meet the customer. Now, who else? Who else could be joining you? Yeah, someone said the TAM, the technical account manager. So these people are super important. They manage the customer accounts. They look at performance improvement. For example, if the customer is raising tickets, they will take care of the tickets. They provide a reporting about how the resources are being used. They say, hey, here you've been using this EC2 instance non-stop for 1 year or for 6 months. Maybe you want to switch to reserved instance so you can save cost. They do this kind of advisory, job with the customer. Okay, let me look at what else did you say? Engagement manager. Yeah, these are at AWS. Engagement manager. These are professional services people. So yeah, hey, guess just what you said. Technical account manager, professional services. They can be in the room as well. It could be that, they need to be introduced to the customer. It could be that the customer, they already have a solution. They want to migrate on AWS or Google or whatever. Professional services should be in the room. Okay, who else could be in the room? Okay, is the TAM needed if the customer is not having an infrastructure yet? Yes, actually, because the TAM is going so let me give you an example. You can have customers that are already on AWS and they have a new team. They made an acquisition, for example, of another company, and that company is going to inherit from all the services that the TAM can offer. If you meet them for the first time, you want to bring the TAM because the TAM is going to say, this is what are the things that I can do for you. So it could, in that context, for example, you can bring the TAM. Okay, customer, all right, so I'm gonna tell you who else can be in the room. Support. Imagine you have a customer that has already been using your services, they never contacted you, but somehow, it's been failing many times and now they want to meet you for the first time. You want to bring support with you just so you can review some support cases and also discuss how those cases are going to be resolved in due time. Sometimes we're not invited just to talk about, what we are going to do, the cool stuff, but we can be invited to talk about how can things be done better, okay? And finally, partner, okay? A partner, because some of the customers, they work with partners that deliver solutions for them. They've been working, for many years together. And it makes sense to have the partner in the room because they have a really good relationship with the customer. So they can be your ally as well, okay? Someone said procurement. Maybe I've never been in a meeting yet with procurement. Maybe because this is beyond my pay grades. But yeah, I guess, yeah, definitely. I would say procurements, they probably come towards the end when there is a deal, when there is pricing, and procurement, they're here to negotiate, bring the price down. So procurement, typically we see them at the end, but could be that, I don't know, they are free on that day, they just want to listen to the meeting and they turn up. Okay, so will the customer also have a solution architect on their side? I hope, I really, really hope. Typically, they have a technical person. Now, that technical person, in my experience, they are not always very familiar with our technology. And I'm not talking about AWS specifically. I've worked for other companies. It's our job to enable them, okay? And if they don't know, it's okay. We're here to help. Okay, partner can be VMware, absolutely. If you think VMware on VMC, VMware Cloud on AWS, yeah, it's also one of the solutions where ideally you want to have VMware in the room.